that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the. I'm coming for the throne. I'm coming for the throne. So you wanna be my enemy? You should've known I'd never kiss the rain. Ice runs in my veins, won't play it safe. I don't belong with your nobility. Who died and made you king of anything? You think that I'm insane? It's your mistake. Kingdoms rise and fall. I've come to take it all. I'll take it. I've come to take it. Kingdoms rise and fall. I've come to take it all. I'll take it all. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the. Coming for the throne. I'm coming for the throne.
Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict, ooh, I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, cause that's what it takes. I take gonna look back, cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change, slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, cause that's what it takes.
All right, y'all. Happy Sunday, August 25th. Mediocre, how you doing, buddy? Can you hear me? Can you guys hear him? All right, he's doing a mic check. Pour your drinks, grab your smokes. It's Sunday night. The weekend's done. We got another week ahead of us of trading. Cheers, amigos. Today also happens to be for better or worse, depending on your viewpoint. I understand not all of y'all are happy, but for better or worse, this is the 1-year anniversary of the APE to AMC conversion. Corey, good evening. Gimme Dat Hedges, good evening. Lux Dove, good evening. They still can't hear you, mediocre. You had it working a minute ago. While he's getting that straightened out, I'm sure he'll figure it out in a second. We were going to go see The Crow tonight. We decided to push it till Tuesday. Let me know in the chat if you've seen The Crow yet and what you think. I saw Blink Twice yesterday in a pretty packed house. It was a great movie. I'd recommend that one to you. And we're watching, my wife and I hear you now, mediocre. We're watching tomorrow night, my wife and I and my son and his girlfriend, the Alien Romulus. That'll be my second time and their first time. So hopefully you guys, if you're a fan of movies or invested in AMC, you're doing the same, supporting your investment. Mediocre, cheers, buddy. You got a drink? Mediocre, testing, probando. Hello. Can you hear us, mediocre? Everlong Gaming. I could hear you for a second, mediocre, and now I can't hear you. I also spent my this weekend finishing up getting the project truck ready for inspection, state safety.
Hello.
Now I hear you, mediocre. Yeah. State safety and emissions check successfully passed today. Hoorah. That's been a project I've been working on for the last, 10 days.
Yeah. You've been busy.
So it did end up being the master cylinder was the final nail in the coffin to get that soft brake pedal fix, mediocre. This was a truck that was given to us a couple weeks ago by my wife's dad, my father-in-law. He bought a brand new 2024 truck, and he knew she was shopping for a vehicle. He said, "You can have this one. It's got a lot of problems, but I don't want it anymore, and I don't want to deal with it." So I looked at the problems myself, and I said, "I think I can fix most of these." And I called the dealer to see how much they were going to charge mediocre. It was going to be over $3,000 to have a mechanic.
That's a lot, Joe. Change
And
right there, buddy.
it took some of my hours and a lot of sweat because it's hot as balls here in Texas. But $600 in parts, new rotors, new calipers, new brake pads, new master cylinder, brake fluid, obviously. Changed the oil and filter. I had to change a wheel sensor because we had the dashboard was lit up like Christmas with all the warning lights. But yeah, it passed. There's still some other small things I got to do on it. And then we'll decide if she's going to keep it or if we're going to sell it and use the money to buy her a newer car. Because this one has some miles on it. Obviously, it's a used vehicle. But later this week, I'm going to change the battery terminals. Because you ever had that problem, Mediocre, where you tighten your battery clamp all the way down, but it's still loose?
Yep. I hate when
And then
that
you
happens.
you go to turn the ignition and click. That happened to me. That happened to me today when I was driving back from the inspection place. I stopped to get gas, and when I turned it back on, click. I was like, huh. So I'm going to swap those out. It's pretty easy on a truck, just to pull off those old cable ends and put some new ones on.
What kind is it? Just a top post?
Yeah, top post. And the terminals are, the cables have like a long piece of metal on them. So you just unscrew that 2-inch terminal
Yeah.
from the cable, and you just swap it out with an uncorroded one, and voila, there you go.
Nice.
I don't think it shouldn't be too hard. But
I didn't even have time to go get a beer. I just got back from dinner with the wife.
go grab one. I kind of, I like working on vehicles. I'm not a mechanic, obviously, but I enjoy working on vehicles. And if I can save $2,000 or $3,000, I'm gonna try. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I do. If I ain't got to spend the money, people, I ain't doing it.
Jedi Master says, "What kind of truck?" It's a Tundra V8 4x4. So pretty nice truck. I mean, the truck's in good shape. The interior, it was a one-driver car. The interior is in great shape. The exterior's got a couple things I want to fix on it. I got to replace the rear bumper. He backed into. I asked him, "What'd you back into?" I think it was one of those concrete poles by a dumpster.
Oh, yeah.
But that's an easy swap. Couple $100 for a bumper. And I've never replaced it. Well, I did replace a bumper on my 69 Camaro, but I pulled the bumper off of that and had a bumper shop re-straighten it and re-chrome it. First time for me doing one on a truck. A lot of first times on this vehicle. And a lot of the repair time that I had in the last 10 days was just basically researching some of the things I had to fix on this truck. I didn't know how to do it. But we have this wonderful world called YouTube and internet forums, and a lot of stuff you can figure out how to do just by having a little bit of patience and spending some time researching before you start throwing wrenches and money at shit. Gabe, it's a 2012 truck. And thank you to my father-in-law. He came over today and helped me bleed the brakes because, good Lord, I had my wife help me try and bleed the brakes a couple of times last week before I replaced the master cylinder. And she's not a big fan of sitting out there in the heat, pumping the brake pedal 50 times. So thank you to him for hanging out today and helping get that done. Let's talk about AMC. I'm going to put up the box office numbers here real quick. We are at 82 million for this weekend. I haven't looked at these yet, so let's look at it together. I did, as I said, saw a couple movies this weekend. I saw Blink Twice, and I saw Cuckoo Friday and Saturday. We almost had 4 days of movies in a row. We were going to see The Crow tonight and Aliens tomorrow, but we're taking a break tonight. So it'll be Aliens on Monday and The Crow on Tuesday. And my wife and I rewatched the original Crow with Brandon Lee Saturday while we were hanging out just to do our prep work. Okay, so we had Deadpool and Wolverine, 18.3 million. Alien Romulus, 16.2 million. It Ends With Us, 11.8. We got a lot of these tent poles still pulling in pretty decent numbers. These are tracking close. I had Alien Romulus at 100 million was my guess. Domestic, it's at 72. It'll probably slightly exceed what I had forecast. The Crow only brought in 4.6 million. I only had The Crow at 20 million because I had done some research on it a couple months ago, and it didn't look like it was going to do good. I don't even know if we'll get 20 million on The Crow, but we'll see. I asked my son if he wanted to go watch it with us next week, and he's like, "What's The Crow?" And that's the generation gap right now, right? The Crow came out, the original came out, I think, in 79. And so, a lot of people just don't know what it is. And then if the reviews aren't good, it's going to have trouble. It's going to have trouble. And I'm looking for we don't have numbers yet for Blink Twice. Oh, here it is, 7.3 million. When I went on Saturday night, the theater was full. Everybody enjoyed the movie. It's not Oscar material, but maybe one of my favorite performances from what the heck's his name? This dude. Channing Tatum. What the hell is his name? Channing Tatum, yeah. He did a good job. And I think Zoe Kravitz was the director. She did a good job. That brings us to the quarterly numbers estimated right now, just short of 2 billion. It would have been nice to have a party tonight celebrating 2 billion 2 months into Q3. But, we're only 20 million away. That'll probably easily be taken down on Monday or Tuesday. That means it's gravy. It's gravy in the month of September. I'm estimating this Q3 conservatively. My numbers between 2.4 and 2.6. I think, probably right somewhere in the middle is easily done. But if we look at the calendar for what we have coming up in the month of September, there is a decent shot that we could do better than what I have forecast. We got Beetlejuice September 6th. That's probably good for a couple $100 million.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
If it does better than 200 million mediocre, we're going to do better than 2.5, 2.6. So
yeah, I'm not afraid, but my position.
Your wife wants to go see it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Your wife wants to see it. My wife wants to see it. Like, my wife doesn't say too often, I want to see a movie, a specific one. So I think, go ahead.
She didn't ask me, Tony. She told me we're going.
All right. That's good. We got, what else we got here in September? The other big names that I'm watching are loaded closer to the end of the month. Oh, and I want to go see this Blazing Saddles on the big screen too. We got The Matrix 25th anniversary, but Transformers 1, September 20th. So we got to have a big opening weekend. We got to have a big opening weekend on that one to beat my number, to beat 2.6. I think Wolf's got canceled, or maybe it's like 1 or 2 days only. And what else am I missing? There's one other big movie in September, right? Or is it just Beetlejuice and Transformers? Oh, what about that robot movie?
Ted says Zootopia will be a banger.
Let me switch this to September. That might help.
Zootopia 2, you passed it.
Oh, we got tickets for Usher. We're going to see that. Zootopia 2. Okay.
What's up, Bigums?
Bigums, how you doing, amigo? Are you having some birthday cake for the AMC APE Save Billy anniversary? Let's see. Transformers 1 and what else we got? Wild Robot. Okay. September 27th. The last damn weekend. I really wish they would push we got Megalopolis too, which is going to be, who knows? Who knows? Not big expectations. I'm looking forward to it. Big expectations for me. Adam Driver, Giancarlo Esposito, Aubrey Plaza, Natalie Emanuel. I'm sure I know her if I saw a face to that name. But we got some good movies for September. So we'll be at 2 billion, let's say Monday or Tuesday. I think with what we got here for the month of September, it's pretty safe for me to say 2.5 billion. And I have AMC break even at 2.45 billion domestic box office. So anything after that, in my estimation, don't take this to the bank. By my spreadsheet, anything above about 2.45 should be a profitable Q3 for AMC. So cross fingers. Bigum says Wild Robot will have a big opening weekend. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of good things about it. Yeah, Bigums, congrats on the new kid. Did you name him Billy? I forgot, Bigums. Did you have a boy or a girl? Lord Leach says the soundtrack for the 90s version of The Crow is really good. We watched the trailer for the new Crow again tonight as we were booking our tickets for Tuesday. And I told my wife, I said, this movie did horrible this weekend. And she said, I still like the trailer. It looks really good. Who knows? We'll see. I'll let y'all know my honest opinion. Did I add LPS in on your stocks list of stocks review? It's on my list, but I'm working on the Intel video next. Billy Bigums. Boy, Chrismo says, thank you. Let's see. Mediocre. Let's talk about the thumbnail we have here. The APE AMC. To mediocre, go get a drink. I'll start off talking about it. Because look, I know if you're watching this and you're not happy, some of the things I'm about to say are probably going to piss you off. So just take a deep breath, put your big boy pants on, pour a drink, grab a smoke. And you can drop whatever comments you want in the comments. AMC APE, the coverage on my channel a year ago. I know a lot of people said a lot of things, but I'm just going to recap what we said. There was going to be some arbitrage at some point. I said 99% chance the judge was going to approve the AMC APE conversion. That happened. I said there was going to be some arbitrage where when it was approved, the prices would meet. That happened. Unfortunately, they both got walked down prior to that. But we bought some cheap APE and were able to profit off of that arbitrage. It's the same freaking stock when they convert. So we knew that was going to happen, and it did. I said it would not be a short squeeze event. We said that very clearly here because people were shorting APE and it could convert over to AMC. And therefore, if they were short AMC, they had some cheap shares to cover with. That also happened, I think, although the short interest didn't dramatically decrease. But, the way I was looking at the AMC APE conversion, and you had your own choice to make if you wanted to hold through it or not. I did not hold through it. But for the company, remember, the company's going to make the decisions they need to make to ensure they survive. And they could see in 2025, 2026, things were going to get better. They needed a lifeline to get to that point. And this happens a lot with companies that have no revenue. A lot of the ones y'all like to speculate on, or AMC, which has growing revenue but still not profitable. Sometimes companies are going to make decisions that you don't like. So if you see that, you have a choice. And if you made a choice to stay in it, I don't want to hear any complaining at this point. And just take the lesson from that.
Buddy.
Cheers. What are your thoughts, Mediocre? I mean, it's undisputed that AMC was losing 100 to 250 million a quarter, and they were running low on cash, and the price was getting beat down.
We were wrong, Tony. There was no arbitrage. There was none of that. It was all hocus pocus. We were full of shit. Nah, I mean, I'm not here to, whatever. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings or any of that. I'm going to trade the stock. That's it. I don't got no feelings involved in AMC, in GameStop, in JetBlue, you name the ticker. I truly don't care. How much can I make? That's all I care about.
I cared a lot.
Trading.
I cared a lot in 2021 through 2023, where I held.
So
I made a lot of money before YouTube trading options, call options in that run up, and so the shares that I had, that I held from 2021 through 2023, those were on house money, and yeah, I lost money on those shares, but it wasn't my money. And I wanted to see, Mediocre, along with everybody else, could we beat these motherfuckers?
I tried.
We tried, and guess what happened?
Definitely tried.
We weren't winning, and the company very clearly was telling us we need to raise more money. And so we kind of read the DD and we shared it for a year, and that's what happened.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
You gotta.
The company's not.
Do what you gotta do.
The company's not going to let itself go bankrupt, and when you know that they're going to dilute, you have a choice to make.
You have to understand that if you did nothing, there's a chance you're going to go underwater and be hurt. That was part of what was going on. It was clear. The information was there. I chose to listen to the information. That's all there is to it. I'm not a hero or any of that crap. I don't really care about any of that. I just protected myself, and that's it.
Mediocre, someone left a comment on my YouTube the other day. He said, Tony, some people don't watch your videos because you're not an ape.
I'm not an ape.
I mean, what?
Right.
Well, you say you're not an ape. I don't know that I've ever used those words, but what does that mean? Like, I support AMC probably as much or more than anybody else. Like, I go to a fuck ton of movies. I've been a A-list member since mid 2021. Spend a lot of my entertainment budget on concessions, buy the popcorn for my house. I don't know how much more of a supporter of the company I could be, but that does not require me to hold through dilution.
I think what they're talking about, though, Tony, is the fact that, they want to say all people equal, which I don't, if you guys want to do that, right? But you can't avoid the information, right? The information's there. You have to do what you have to do with the information. I mean, I use the information to my advantage, right? So I want to see everybody succeed. That is ultimately why I come on here and talk to you guys, really. I mean, I don't really care other than that. I want to see everybody who's ever been hurt in AMC or any of these other, plays to come out ahead. That's ultimately what I want. And whatever, it is what it is.
Are you in AMC right now, Mediocre?
I am not.
So I do have a position I bought Monday or two ago, whenever that big dip was. So I'm in at 420. I feel pretty comfortable right there, especially in light of the box office numbers and what what I expect Q3 and Q4 and into 2025 and 2026 to be revenue wise. We'll see. But I still recognize that the debt deal is still a work in progress. You know how they had some conditional things in that debt deal, mediocre, like, oh, we could sell another 50 million of convertibles, or this, that, and the other. There could be some more dilution, is what I'm saying. And we were having a discussion with a fine gentleman in the live stream a couple days ago. He said, well, what if they dilute again during a run up? I would expect that they would dilute again during a run up. What do you think?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't they?
The only reason they wouldn't is if they're doing so good on free cash flow and they're so optimistic that they say we don't need to do this right now. So we can't say with certainty, that they're absolutely going to dilute some more. But if there's a run up, I mean, look at GameStop, mediocre. I don't think anybody was expecting that they were going to dilute. They had $1 billion in cash and they were basically break even, and exactly. they diluted their shareholders twice.
Yeah.
So why AMC still being negative working capital and having some debt that they want to get off the balance sheet, why wouldn't they take an opportunity in any run up to sell some more shares or do something? I think it's reasonable. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just trying to say, like, a reasonable person would expect that they probably would raise some more cash. So
I would say that people should keep track, as we do, Tony, how many shares they have left to dilute and stuff like that, right? Well, we know they got roughly 100 million shares left that they could dilute.
Yeah, they got 100 million left. So we're at like 360 million or so right now. We've got like 92 million from the convertibles that they sold. At some point, those convertibles will convert. What did we say the conversion price was, mediocre? Like 566?
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
It's not my expectation that any convertibles have been converted yet because they're under the conversion price. But I think, the higher it gets above 566, you'll eventually start seeing some of those convert. And that will be more dilution for us if we're holding common. But the good side of that is it's debt. It wipes debt off the balance sheet. So it's a good and bad, just something to be aware of. You can decide, if that affects you or not on your own. And that leaves them with about 100 million free shares to play with. And I think Adam kind of hinted like they want to be very, what was the word, mediocre? He wants to be very cautious, I feel, about using that last 100 million because he knows it's not going to be fun to have to come back to shareholders and say, we need more shares.
Yeah.
So
he's not going to want to do that.
Let's hope we don't get to that point. Let's hope we don't get to that point where they run out and they still need more cash.
We don't need them wanting that.
The good news is, if we're booking profitable quarters, Q3, Q4 into 2025, 2026, then you start getting net income and free cash flow, and that risk of dilution, I'm not going to say it gets wiped out, but it gets minimized. And then we'll just have to see. I just
want profitable quarters. That's what I'm rooting for.
That's what we're all rooting for, and I'm doing my part to make that happen by going to a movie.
I think we're, AMC in the past few years is probably in the best position it's been in a while, especially after the writer strike. Like, that really hurt. I don't think people really understood.
No one really anticipated that. Even at the time they were doing APE AMC, they weren't anticipating a strike.
That really hurt the industry as a whole, And,
yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad we're recovering from that, but we were still recovering from the whole 2020 debacle. I don't really want to talk about it, but we were hurt from that and just starting to recover from that, and then that hit us. That I don't know. But I think if we keep getting the box office growing and moving, we'll be good. Keep moving and grooving, baby.
Here's the AMC chart for the last year. You can see this was the date of the APE AMC conversion where we had that big sell-off. I did buy some more after the sell-off back here. I sold it in this run-up. And then I bought some more on one of these dips right back here in January. And I sold that, as I talked to you guys about back in March, because I was worried about a dilution announcement, which we got March 26th and 27th. I sold off, and then we got the dilution announcement, I think, on the 28th. And then I bought back in 4.3, 4.10, 4.15, and we had this big spike up. And so I sold again. You gotta take advantage of these opportunities. It ran up to $12, and I had bought some call options with $8 and $10 strikes. Sold those as it ran up and opened on the morning of 5/14. Mostly been waiting since 5/14 to buy back in, and I bought back in on August 5th at 4.20. We've been in this range now, mediocre, for 3 months. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, over 3 months, between 4.30 and 5.60. What do you think is going to get us out of this damn range that we're bound in?
I think Q3 box office being profitable will help us move up.
Did you see the other theaters moving up on Friday?
I wasn't actually around on Friday, but I did not notice. No.
Look, Cinemark had a good day.
Wow,
I think because of the box office. I mean, their price target, the analysts gave them based on their expected earnings over the next year, is around $27. So I don't know that Cinemark is going to go a lot higher than this. It ran up to the analyst price target, which is based on forecast earnings and a price to earnings ratio of around 25. So
I wish I knew about this sooner. This is the first I'm hearing about that. So
IMAX also had a good day. Let me go to the daily chart. IMAX has been having a good run. They went up on Friday. They're at my price target that I set. I bought some IMAX back here in early June, $14.99 and $15.20. It's at $21.38. And then the other one that I'm watching is Marcus Corp MCS. I did buy a little bit of that at the end of June at $11.55 down here in this dip. And it's at $14. So that's up $3 or so. I'm up maybe 25, 30%. Why am I buying other theater stocks? Because we follow the industry so closely.
Absolutely. Tony, I will say this, though. The other thing that I believe that can move the stock is we get an analyst upgrade. Easily can move the stock up.
That's a good point. And I think, mediocre, though, that the analysts are hesitant. We've had a lot of talks about this. I think the analysts are hesitant to give upgrades on AMC while there is still uncertainty about further dilution. So something is going to need to convince them that the next year is going to be profitable for AMC. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I think, we're getting close, in my opinion, the closer we get to Q3, because what do you got? You're gonna if it's a profitable quarter, they didn't lose no cash off the balance sheet.
They're probably going to book some cash off the balance sheet onto the balance sheet.
Put some cash on there. They still get to keep their shares, and going into Q4 and next year is going to be pretty good.
I think, if I know a lot of people are looking at the volume and looking at how it's range bound, and we were talking about the Wyckoff theory, mediocre. I just think that AMC is waiting on news, and I think that Beetlejuice opening weekend could be the first chance we have to have some news that makes AMC break the top side of this range.
Yeah, that is an issue I'm having because I'm not in it yet.
You're worried that it's going to run before you can get in, right?
I mean, I'm going to get in either way.
And when I say run, guys, I mean
I'm watching the clock.
When I say run, I mean higher than that red bar that I have there.
550, 560, we're talking. I mean, maybe it gets to $6, but you remember, you got people that could sell out from under us at 566.
Yeah, they're not going to sell. The converts aren't going to happen right at 566.
I'm just saying, but they could start happening there.
The higher it goes above 566, the more incentivized they are from their profit motivation to convert and sell. So that is something to think about. They trade bonds for a reason. Not that they don't trade stocks, right? But maybe they don't want to trade equities. Maybe they just want to trade bonds, right? And they're only in this because of the deal that they made. You never know what their circumstances are on the people that are, holding that. On these weekly candles, look at the uncertainty on these last 2 weeks, mediocre.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, in a good sense, you could say there's not a lot of short pressure either, right? Because they're not trying to drive it down.
No, there's not. It's just sitting here idle.
They've stopped focusing on it, I think. I think they know there's a risk that this could be a profitable quarter, and it's not a fantastic short right now. That's what I think.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think that they want to mess with it because they could get caught in this area for sure.
What do y'all think?
I mean, it hasn't closed below 5 in how long, Tony?
Close. I mean, it's closed below 5 a lot of days, but everything.
No. I'm talking about on Friday when it matters.
Oh, 505. Yeah. Last Friday it closed right at $5, didn't it? $4.99 something.
Yeah, $4.99. I think there was people who sold puts that closed at $4.99 and they didn't even get shares, even though it closed under. That's a kind of what's going on. It's been closing right at 5 or above 5, every Friday. I mean, you could go back, look for a month. I think it's been like that.
Oh, we got a comment from Sparky. He says the convert bonds are trading at 117. Wow. 117. That's over par because of the long option value. There won't be conversion at $6, he says. Sparky is a professional bond trader, so he knows far more about it than I do. He doesn't trade AMC, or I'd call him a shill. But he is a professional in the industry, so I'm going to take his opinion as more value than any I could give you. He said, and of course we still, nobody knows everything for sure, but he said there won't be conversions at $6. If convert holders want out, they will sell the convert, not the exchange. Can you explain that, Sparky? If convert holders want out, they will sell you mean they just sell the bond? I think that's what he's saying. They just trade the bond and take the profit. Because if AMC goes up, then the bond prices would go up. Am I reading that correctly? I mean, could we expect those convert bonds to trade higher than 117 if AMC moves up? Or no? I don't know. You tell me. I'm not a bond expert. Hawkeye says, let's get a Stock surged to 666 just in time for Halloween. I'm going to put Sparky's comment up there while he's typing his response. He says, yes, they will just trade the bond. All right, good to know. I didn't think about that. And maybe a lot of people aren't thinking about that, Sparky. I think there's a lot of fear that the converts are going to dilute us. And, maybe you can help us think through it. From your experience, at what point or under what conditions do we need to worry about someone converting those bonds? 92 million shares. I want to know, I'd like to be able to predict for my own risk management, at what point do I need to be thinking about 92 million shares of conversion happen? Steven says, are you getting back into crypto at all? Not recently, but hey, guys, in Mediocre, guess who I talked to today?
The crypto cowboy?
The crypto cowboy. Yesterday was his birthday. Cowboy. Yesterday was his birthday, and so I called him up yesterday, and he didn't answer. He was out partying, and I called him back today. I said, hey, crypto cowboy, you still in that crypto stuff? He's like, yeah, Tony, I'm just mostly trading Bitcoin right now. So that's the update from him.
Is he doing all right at least?
He's doing all right.
Well, that's good. Then.
But he said he had to scale back a little bit on the crypto because his professional work life has been super busy. He's, well, it doesn't matter what he does, but he's got a good job, and he needs to focus on that. So,
absolutely.
All right. Sparky says it has traded as high as $124 on the convertible bonds. It's a 6-year option, 566 strike. I don't think a single bond gets converted till the last year. Wow. What do you think of that, Mediocre?
I mean, that's good news, if you're a shareholder. I mean, I like it. I just, I'm cautious. That's the whole thing. I'm cautious, and I could be wrong. Absolutely. Right. And that's,
Sparky, one day when you have time to explain it to me like I'm 5, rather than typing it in a text here on the chat, maybe you could verbally explain to me why that is the case, because I don't get it. Well, I mean, I get that they can just trade the bonds and profit, but I don't get why someone wouldn't convert.
I mean, I'll say this though. I'll leave it with Sparky, because he knows way more about bonds than I do. I don't know nothing about bonds. I'm not a bond trader. So
Tech We Love says Zootopia isn't till November 26th. So we got 2 dates for Zootopia. Can I get a third party to arbitrate this? I don't know. I don't remember I don't remember if I did a forecast in Q3 for Zootopia or not. Anyways, now that we're a year into it, this is your moment. If you want to complain about, this is a no judgment zone. If you want to complain about the AMC APE conversion, feel free to. I'm not going to boot you for complaining. If you want to, if you agree with my analysis that the APE to AMC conversion saved the company by providing them the ability to, and Sparky, as a professional in the industry who doesn't trade AMC at all, I'm curious your thoughts. My thoughts from looking at the cash flow statement, the balance sheet, and the income statement is AMC was headed down a dark path, running into a liquidity crisis. I have an open invitation to any industry professional, financial analyst, CPA. Put your record on the line. If you disagree with me, I'll bring you on live. You need to show me your credentials, because we're gonna put your credibility on the line. I don't care about all the popcorn project people, yahoos that have no idea how to read a financial statement. If you disagree with me that AMC did not have a liquidity crisis looming and the conversion was not a necessity, and you're a professional in the industry, I want to have you on. I want to have a little debate with you, because from my analysis and every realistic analysis from people who know what they're talking about, it's pretty clear that the company was headed down a dark path as far as liquidity. It was an unfortunate necessity. Wouldn't you say, Mediocre?
Yeah, absolutely, it was. I'm reading Ted's comment. He says Ape saved me as a trader just because I bought so much Ape at less than $1. Good job, Ted.
I'm going to put that up on the screen. Tedward. Ted, what do you say to the people that sold all their Ape and loaded up AMC and said Adam Aaron was trying to screw us and the Ape was worthless? It sounds like you had a different opinion, one shared by us, by the way. What do you say to those people, Tedward?
All I got to say is I cannot believe, Tony, it's been a whole year since that transpired.
I can't believe it's 2024 and we're still talking about AMC, Mediocre.
No.
I mean, I love the movies, but there's a lot of other good stocks out there of profitable companies. I do enjoy covering AMC just because there's so much misinformation and bad DD and people making content that have never opened up a financial statement saying that Adam Aaron wants to bankrupt the company. He's in bed with Apollo, yada, yada, yada. All this nonsense when clearly every action they've taken is to preserve the company from going bankrupt. And I just can't leave people hanging with all that bullshit going on out there. So I keep getting drawn back to it, Mediocre. Plus, we've learned so much about how to predict earnings and revenue and box office in this industry. It becomes a much easier trade, in some sense, even easier than predicting other stocks.
Yeah, no, I agree. I enjoy it because of, there's so much volatility. There's so, you could see what's going to happen as far as charting goes, right? And I don't know. I enjoy that. It makes it easier for me to trade, and rather than a stock that just sits still. I need the volatility because of what I'm doing.
Kirby says, Carl says he didn't sell his Ape. Did you? I'm not sure, Carl. Did you hold all the way through the conversion? And Kirby says he bought lots of Ape under $1. Booyah, Kirby.
Good job, man.
Joe says he's stuck to get even $39. I think that's going to be tough if we don't have some sort of cataclysmic event, Joe. So our suggestion always to folks is, take some active charge of your portfolio. Kirby's average was 78 cents. My God. Mediocre, what was the cheapest Ape you got? Yeah, I missed that opportunity. There were 2 opportunities to buy Ape sub $1.
It was somewhere around 70 cents.
God dang.
Lucky. Down there.
Lucky. What was I doing, Mediocre?
You were reading the filings for me. I appreciate it, by the way.
I took one for the team. I'm busy reading. Fast. I'm reading filings, and in 10 minutes that the price dropped, Mediocre and everybody else in the Discord, bye. I was like, hold on.
He's like, I'm not even done reading.
And they're like, buying. And I was like, and by the time I got done reading, okay, the filing says we should buy. They were like, we already bought, Tony. And it already ran back up. My cost basis was right over $1, and it ran back up to the point where I was like, well, the incentive for me to add more now is already done.
I think it did that because something happened where the judge sent back the the paperwork to get redone, and everybody thought she was going to deny it or something. It was, I don't remember exactly what had happened, but there was something happened in the courts that caused that to happen, which blew my mind. But I was ready anyways.
All right. Zephyr has a good question. Mediocre, I'm going to let you take this one.
Why was AMC worth more years ago under worse circumstances than it is now? They had a smaller float.
Yeah, and he's talking price, and that is one thing you guys got to do is look at market cap, not just the price. The market cap is essentially the same right now, mediocre.
Yeah, how many shares were trading back then? That's what you need to look at. You need to know like how many shares were trading. You need to know, what their profitability was, and this, that, and the other thing. Hold on, let me.
But I mean, just Google AMC historical market cap, and you can see like 2018, 2019. I'm pretty sure the market cap was right around 2 billion. Haven't we talked about that offline many times, mediocre?
Yeah, 2 billion market cap.
So that's why we feel pretty comfortable where it's at right now, close to a 2 billion market cap.
Yeah, it's 1.8 pretty much.
It's a historical, the market seems to like AMC at 2 billion market cap until it gets profitable, and then things start changing. I think the market cap could go up based on positive earnings.
Yeah, you can't just go solely off of market cap. But what I will say though is, back then it probably had a smaller float. In smaller float, 2 billion market cap, it could have been trading around that. That matters. So I don't really know what year you're talking about, but I've done a lot of historical looking back on AMC.
All right, mediocre. He says it was 18 billion market cap before the conversion. All right, he teed you up. Go ahead and knock it down.
18 billion market cap before the conversion, but it was overvalued, right? Where's it trading today? You had a 4 billion, 6 billion market cap the whole time. We ran up to $72. Okay. How high was the market cap at $72? It was ridiculously high, right?
You can't have a market cap that high, guys, on a company that has negative earnings and an upside down balance sheet.
That's a short seller's dream right there. They're just going to keep shorting it.
This is why I insist that you must learn to read the financial statement so you can, on your own, outside of all social media, figure out what is a fair price for a stock. I mean,
I never cared about financial statements or any of that stuff with AMC, right? I was with you guys 100%.
I didn't either.
The people stock, right?
It was a momentum. Right. What's the word? Where we had a bunch of people interested in the play, trying to make something happen, but we all knew that it was overvalued.
But some people, were taking profits from 72 on down. They were exiting the play. There were people selling. I know you guys, some people don't want to hear that, but it was happening, right? And not only were there people selling, there were short sellers pushing the price down. Why? Because it was an overvalued company. I don't make the rules, right? But why? I would, if I knew now, if I known then what I know right now, there's zero chance I would have held this stock at $72. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Zephyr says, why was it running up before the conversion based off the balance sheet? I appreciate you, Zephyr, for asking questions and allowing us all to have a learning conversation and being a respectful human.
Yeah, there's no hard feelings here. Like, I'll answer anything, right?
Yeah, I will too. What date range were we talking about?
You said before the conversion based off the balance sheet.
I mean, are we talking 2021? That's really the only time it ran.
I think he's talking about more recently when they did the conversion in APE, and I think that he may be ill-informed. I'm not certain on that, but my thought is he's talking about the whole judge's ruling and all that. He's saying that the balance sheet was okay prior to that. And that's not true. Tony's going to go look right now. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that the balance sheet was not in good shape before the conversion. The whole reason why
It,
I'll tell you this because there was a conversation, well, not a conversation, it was a document, a court document that clearly said, because I make a joke about this all the time, right? I say, Tony, what's the term they use for dilution? The nice term they use. Tell everybody.
tapping the equity markets or
Exactly.
tapping the secondary market.
That was exactly what that was in the court documents. It said that they needed to do the dilution, basically they needed to tap the equity markets. This is their words. They needed to tap the equity markets before a specific date because the equity markets dry up. That is
Mediocre. I
people,
think in that, very specific phrase when they said that, he was talking about doing some debt for equity swaps, like to go to a big institution and get a agreement to take down a bunch of shares. Those people were, they were reaching a point where if they didn't get it done, they were going to miss their window.
exactly. That's what they were talking about. But that's a form of dilution, right?
It is a form of dilution. I just didn't know if you were saying when AMC said that in the court documents, if they were talking about tapping retail or tapping institutions. Do you want to
I'm just saying
clarify?
they word it nicely. My only point to that is they word it nicely because they need money and they don't really want you to know they're coming after your money.
They don't want to black and white say we need to dilute the stock or we're going to run out of cash.
Exactly.
When they say we need to tap the
you.
equity markets, that means they need cash, though.
Right. So the reason I brought that up is because they wouldn't have sent that to the judge if they didn't need the money. They definitely needed the money.
Joe says, question, did the shorts close all their positions? What's the short interest right now? 45, 50 million shares?
Yeah, it's like 12 or 13% or something like that.
So, no, I mean, not all of them closed.
That's the other thing with shorts that people don't want to talk about, right? A short can close its position and, just reset it, right? If it goes bad. Say the stock moves up, they'll just close out of it, let it run up, and then they'll reset their position. I don't understand why people don't think that happens.
Mediocre, there are people that say that there's billions or trillions of shorts that have never closed since 2021. And, on this channel, we don't really entertain that theory. We don't make fun of people that have that theory. You're welcome to have whatever theories you want, but we don't trade. We don't make our decisions on AMC based on that theory. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. I don't, because here's the bottom line, whether there is or there isn't. Okay. I'll say this one more time for the people in the back. If there is corruption in AMC, right? Which I believe there's corruption in the market. I'm not saying that. I think there's a lot of corruption that goes on. But if that corruption exists, what people are talking about, if it does, right, you're losing anyways. You're putting your money up to try to repair something against these evil people who are doing this. If it's true, right? I'm not saying it's true or not true. I'm just being a neutral person right here. If that is the case, right, you're risking your hard-earned money to try to prevent that, right? And we're losing. I'm just going to join myself to that and say we haven't won. We haven't succeeded, right? And the reason that is because the only way we're going to truly make change in market reform is if we replace our Congress. That's just, I've said this how many times, Tony?
All the time. And I kind of eventually, had to come to the same realization. And it was compounded, Mediocre, by seeing AMC saying they needed to raise more money. It's like, well, I've been in this thing holding since 2021. I'm not getting ahead, and the company's disclosing that they need to raise even more money. Like, I can still support this stock without being wiped out 90% more.
Exactly.
I just got to be smarter about my exits and re-entries. So that's all I'm doing differently now. I haven't abandoned AMC. I want to see it succeed, but I don't want to see my equity, my cash wiped out.
Me either, Tone. I'd just rather keep going, you know?
And all of the years of holding that I did mattered jack shit, mediocre.
Right. We didn't make money. I didn't lose money, but I didn't make money. It was a waste. I could have had my money working. And that's how I look at it. I'm not trying to be a jerk, right? But if my money's going to sit there and it's not making me anything, it's not worth my time. That's just the way that I see it.
It's an opportunity cost.
Right.
We talk about that every Monday. Like, all right, what are we going to do with our cash this week? Put it in X, Y, or Z, or tie it up selling secured puts, cash secured puts. Everything is an opportunity cost decision. And I don't like holding plays that are going down. I don't mind if I have shares in something that's trading sideways and I can sell call options on it and make money while it's trading sideways. If I get good premium, that's fine. That's the wheel strategy. We do that a lot on a lot of different tickers. So we don't mind stocks trading sideways, but this holding things that are just going down, especially when you know that the company needs to raise cash, that's a tough spot to be in. At least mediocre, I think we're close to a pivot point for AMC. I honestly do. We're on the cusp of Box Office changing to positive. We're at a 2 billion market cap, which the market seems to like. And the price has been holding here for 3 months. So the next move, whether it be up or down, in my book, is going to be based on news. Yeah. Either good news or bad news. Like monkeypox, or AMC's going to monkeypox, or AMC's going to sell another 100 million shares. That could be bad news. Like, I hope neither one happens, but I'm not focused on those. Those are low risk things for me. They're potential. They exist, but I'm not focused on those. I'm right now more focused on Box Office beating expectations and people sleeping at the wheel on Wall Street thinking that AMC is not going to make it profitable next 2 quarters. And if we can get a good buy in this area, we still got to understand the risks that are out there. But if you understand those risks and you like speculating in non-profitable stocks and you think you can get in one before they start announcing some profitable quarters, maybe it's a good trade for you. It's not for everybody. I like profitable companies for the bulk of my portfolio. I don't know about you guys, but I do enjoy speculating on stuff like this too. The returns, if you're right, mediocre, can be outsized.
Right. I love trading. I see. I have a different philosophy than Tony, which I don't hate what Tony does, but I'm sure Tony, understands what I do. But I don't hold stocks for long. I go in, I make my money, and I'm out. I rather keep my money in my bank, especially in what I believe to be, I don't trust the market right now, to be honest with you. I mean, there's a lot could happen with the overall market. So,
what do you think is going to happen with the interest rates? You think that's going to? Well, here I was going to tweet this out, but I'm trying not to be too much of a pumper, mediocre. But you know what I think when I hear that interest rates are going to go down? That only helps AMC because
yes, it does. That's
their loans are on variable rate. So when the Fed lowers rates, AMC's interest expense goes down. That's a plus.
when I say scare me, you guys, it's because I don't actually have shares at the moment, and I don't want to miss out on a move.
And Kirby brings up another point. As they continue to close unprofitable theaters, those leases, that lease expense gets wiped off the income statement. Another plus. So you have these expenses going down, and you have the revenue in the box office going up. The setup is pretty good if you're a gambler. It's not a certainty. I'm not trying to convince you to do anything. And this is still, in my mind, a speculative play until AMC is. Here's kind of how I look at it, mediocre. And it may be too late to buy into it at the point that AMC says this. But if box office does really good over the next 2 years, and the company's booking profit, and then they say, like Cinemark and IMAX, our guidance for the next 12 months is X, Y, and Z for net income and positive free cash flow, you're going to see within a day or two analysts upgrade the price target. And so for me, it's all about this delicate timing of how do I manage my risk, but get in before these analysts see what we see, because they're not watching it every day like we are. They're watching it once a quarter.
So, Tony, I got a question for you. We got a comment here by Number Letters. I want to know your opinion of this. I know you and I have differences of not of opinions, right? Like we have different trading styles. So I'm curious what you make of his comment.
Let me find it here. Number Letters.
Number Letters, yeah.
Day trading is such a rat-like lifestyle. I don't know. I mean, why? I don't get it. Lewis says some traders, new and old, may not know what to do when they. I don't day trade AMC, by the way, but we do day trade a lot of stocks. Lewis, I got to have the right setup to day trade something. Lewis, and I got to have volatility, right? Mediocre. We need to know that it's going to go up.
That's the point I'm trying to make about that comment, right?
We got to get a good entry, and we got to feel that it's going to go higher than our entry, and then we'll exit. That's a tough thing. You got to be good. Lewis says some traders, new and old, may not know what to do when they close on the size losses they have. How do they recover those losses? I tell them to talk to their CPA. Yeah, Lewis. I mean, talk to a CPA before you do that trade is a good idea. If war pops off, I think AMC will be okay. It's an American company, shouldn't be hurt by tariffs. Which war are we talking about, amigo? Who we fighting now? He also says he thinks they're going to rug pull the market and raise interest rates. Didn't Powell just say last week, mediocre, that their bias was towards lowering rates?
Yeah. I mean, I think based on the numbers, I mean, if the numbers are correct, right? You know, I don't really trust their numbers, believe me, but we'll see what happens. But the numbers they're putting out, it looks like rate cuts could actually happen. I'll say that, right? But, you know, that's only going to help smaller companies, right? You know, not necessarily. It'll help all companies, but what I'm trying to say is it'll help companies like AMC rebound a little better, I think.
I do agree with him that the SPY is getting kind of pricey. I mean, look at that SPY action.
I agree. That's
I'm not going to disagree with you there. Like, does it just keep marching up, or do we get a pullback?
Bidenomics, Tony.
And what happens if Trump gets elected and people feel bullish about the economy? I mean, a lot could happen.
You got me, buddy. I don't know.
I can't say that I have a crystal ball that perfectly predicts it. When I look at a chart like that, I feel like at some point
That's
have
why I day trade.
you got to have
That's
a
why I keep my
pullback.
money in my portfolio. And if you don't like it, I'll just tell you. But my money's safe.
Kirby says Cinemark and IMAX have less theaters, so they will go up faster. Yeah, they're both profitable right now, right? A lot of people get irritated that Cinemark and IMAX prices are running up, but they are booking profits, and price in the market is a derivative of earnings. Whether you're talking AMC, Cinemark, IMAX, GameStop. Why do I say GameStop's overvalued? Because there's no earnings. There's no earnings. Nvidia. There's no earnings to justify that price. But at some point, if earnings appear, then maybe you get a new price. You get a price and analyst price adjustment. Lewis says a lot of friends lost upwards of 6 figures on AMC, sold an asset and used the loss on AMC to cover capital gains on the profits from his asset sale. Oh, a friend lost. Oh man, I mean, you guys know me, hopefully by now. I'm a pretty risk averse person. If I would have been, well, let's not do the woulda, shoulda, coulda. My initial investment in AMC back in May of 2021 was small. And I kept it small, and I bought call options, and I sold those call options for a very nice profit on the run up, as Matt and Trey were telling people to keep buying them. And I was like, what the fuck, man? I mean, clearly we had a non-profitable company, but I mean, after seeing that first squeeze and it came down, and we knew that GameStop had done a couple, we thought that there could be another one for a while. And then that didn't materialize, and we had to kind of use our critical thinking skills to say, all right, maybe this stock just behaves normally like everything else. If it's overvalued, these fuckers are going to grind it back down to fair value.
Doc Zeno, how are you tonight, buddy?
Doc Zeno's in the house. Let's do a cheers for Doc Zeno. What are we drinking tonight, Doc? I'm about ready for a refill, by the way.
I killed mine. Cheers, Doc. We'll drink this.
All right, Gabe here with the politics talk. He says, regardless of who takes office, we will have a correction. I guess we'll all find out. I want to ride into the election with cash on the side, mediocre. I don't know about you, in case Gabe is right.
Yeah, I'm watching where I put my money. I'll just say that. I can't afford to take a hit.
Hawkeye says GameStop is a glorified potential SPAC or holding company at this point, just waiting to see what it transforms into. For all we know, Cohen will do 4.5 billion share buyback and dissolve the company. I keep on having a bad dream, Hawkeye, that Ryan Cohen's going to announce he's exiting GameStop. But it's a bad dream. I don't think he's really going to do that. I think he honestly is trying to set up the company for some future potential success, and having $4 billion in cash sets them up for that. I've said I don't, at this point, now that they've raised additional $3 billion, things have changed since my viewpoint on GameStop in prior to May. They've got $4 billion in cash. No one knows what they're going to do with it. I think it's kind of a dumb short at this point, under $20, because if he announces anything, retail is going to try and run it up. If he doesn't do anything for a year, I think the price will get ground down. That's just my, if And the other thing that I don't know, and we'll find out in a couple of weeks, is what are they doing with that cash? Are they investing it? I see some pretty wild claims that it's all fully invested in treasuries. I don't know. They only ever invested 25% of their cash before. Why should we assume now they invested 100% of it? And then even those estimates that people are throwing out are not accurate interest rates. The 300 million a year, that's not correct. But I mean, if they invested $1 billion in treasuries and threw off 5%, that's better than doing nothing. I hope they are investing some of it while they're figuring out what they want to do. And then when they disclose what they want to do, if it's a good plan and the street likes it, then we can calculate some potential return on that or some potential earnings, and the analysts will give a new price target, and then we'll see. Right now, it's just a guessing game. So I just think my general thought on GameStop is it's not a dead play. There's no bankruptcy risk, but you're just literally speculating on what Ryan and Larry are going to do. And if you want to do that, knock yourself out. I prefer to wait for the cheapest entry possible, and until I hear something from them, it seems it's only a couple dollars overvalued. I mean, it's really, really close to being a safe play in my mind. But they got to have earnings. 200 plus PE ratio is not sustainable over the long term if they don't announce something. Six Sun says, will there be another squeeze? I don't know. Six Sun. There's shorts in the play. Tell me a good catalyst that could make this thing run. We just had a run up to $12. I mean, that was from $2 to $12. Was that a squeeze, mediocre? Was that a tradable play?
Absolutely, it was.
I mean, come on. I made a lot of money that week.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think the shorts got out of the way?
The shorts are not out of the way.
No. Do you think that the shorts exited on that move up?
Some did. I think some did. And then they reapplied a new short at $8, $9, $10, $12.
Okay, I agree. They made profit on the way back down.
Absolutely.
I'm not a fan of shorts. Believe me, guys. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like shorts haven't been making fucking money. You know what I mean? I'm gonna say what I think. I think that they have made money this whole time and we've been losing. Okay, and I'm not going to sit here and lose my money. Armed with the information, I'm going to protect my portfolio. That is ultimately my goal. End of story.
Number letter says they could do a buyback. AMC or GameStop, either one could announce a buyback, but that's like a 1% probability in my book. Both companies are actively selling shares, and the only responsible time to buy back shares is when your shares are undervalued, and neither stock is undervalued right now. But more importantly, they're trying to raise money, not spend money. And a share buyback would deplete cash. So for me, I mean, maybe somebody surprises me, and that's fine. I don't see a share buyback in the cards for either company.
Tony, what's the break-even number for Q3?
2.45 billion is what I have. Do you want to see the spreadsheet?
Jacob Wolf was asking, so.
Yeah, let me bring up the spreadsheet, and then I'm going to grab a beer right before I throw it on the screen. I was going to say right before I throw it up, but that would not sound good after I say grab a beer.
I got to get up in the morning. I promised I'd be in early.
Yeah, we're not going to stay late tonight.
That's the only reason why I'm not having another beer.
Hang on one second.
So what do you guys think? You guys think we're going to have a profitable third quarter or just under profitability? What are your guys' thoughts?
All right, I'm back. Spreadsheet. Let me move it over here.
Tony 6 Cents says, have you ever thought that maybe Roaring Kitty might be a plant? I don't think so.
I consider all possibilities, but my gut feeling is he is not. But if he's not, god damn, the fucker's lucky. All right, let's
Jimmy,
get
have
this.
a good night.
All right, let's look at, let's get these off of here just so we can focus on the one that we're in. Q3, I have penciled in 2.6 billion. We can throw in whatever number you guys want to see. Let's just say on the low end, 2.45. I think that's where I calculated break even was at 30%. If AMC captures 30%, and again, I extrapolate this to include worldwide. So it includes Europe, but I use the domestic box office for my formula just because it's hard to get good numbers easily on international. So this works out. You can see here the number varies between 20, what's the low there? 27.8 to 34. But let's just go with a reasonable number here, 30%. 2.45 billion domestic box office would get us 3 million net profit. Well, a penny. So that's kind of my mediocre, my break even. If AMC were to increase their market share by 1%, that bumps up another $14 million in net profit, just for an example. I mean, this number right here is hard for me to predict. What percentage of the market do we get? So I just go with something conservative. If we did 2.6 billion, 29 million net profit. If they, for example, did 3 billion, I see a couple people saying 3 billion Q4. Guys, the company would need to make $1 billion in the next 30 days. I don't think that is possible. But what if Beetlejuice, thank you, Transformers and Wild Robot just busted out? 3 billion would be 117 million net profit. I mean, would I like to see that? Of course, I'd like to see that. I don't think it's reasonable. So I'm kind of somewhere between 2.4 and 2.6. Let's just go in the middle of my estimate. I'm thinking the company books a profit somewhere around 3 pennies.
That's good.
That's using 361 million shares. I mean, it's a hell of a lot better than a loss, mediocre.
Yeah.
It's a better than a loss. Gabe says, thoughts on Nick's theory of us moving to $8 by the end of this week. I like Nick, Gabe. I find him entertaining, but I also find him sometimes to be a little bit too mired in some conspiracy stuff that I don't agree with. That doesn't mean that I'm right and he's wrong. We'll find out. We'll find out at the end of the week. That's all I'm going to say. And if he's right, I have no problem with that. his theory, mediocre, if you haven't watched him, is everything is pre-planned. It's running by fractals. Adam knows when the runs are going to happen, so he drops bad news right before the runs happen. It's just too conspiratorial for me.
Why would Adam Aaron wait though, Tony? Wouldn't that put the company at risk?
He's saying that Adam is trying to kill the run-ups to, I don't know. I mean,
I understand that what he's
help
saying.
the short?
What I'm saying is this, right? If that was the case, he wouldn't be holding, just waiting for that to happen. Because what if it never happened, right? It's just a coincidence that it happens. You see what I'm saying?
You're talking about why is he holding shares?
No, I'm talking about Adam Aaron. Talking about Adam Aaron holding and waiting for a run up to sell.
No, Nick is saying that Adam waits for the algorithm to predict that the price is going to run, and then he tweets bad news the day before that to make sure the algorithm can't run.
Oh, okay.
And Nick's not the only guy that says that. I mean, I see a lot of the Popcorn Project people say that.
I thought they were waiting to say that he only sells into a run up. I thought that was where you were going.
No, he's going to sell into a run up.
Absolutely he is, but he's not holding waiting. Like if the company was doing terrible and he had no choice, he's gonna do it.
I understand why Nick and anyone who talks like him, because of the coincidence of what looks like a price run up and Adam Aaron tweeting something. I get it. I'm not blind. I can see that too. Just logically thinking, it doesn't make sense to me. Now, if I take off my logic hat for a second and I want to say that the entire board and the executive staff is corrupt, then I could see where you guys would say that. And that just comes down to a belief. What is your belief? I have my belief. I'm not saying mine is correct, but I don't agree with that belief system.
I just think he's doing his job.
That is my more logical view of it, mediocre.
I remember the conversation I had with him. So, it's, I don't know. It was interesting. I learned a lot. I'll say that.
With who?
I shared it. Huh?
With
that man.
Oh, when you asked him questions?
Yeah.
Did
I still got the cue cards.
Did he give you talking points and tell you what to say after that, mediocre, and promise you a payment?
No. No, he didn't. He did not want to. He did not want to really have a conversation with me because, I mean, I don't know if you guys know what a gimbal is. I know Tony does, but I had a gimbal, a microphone, and cue cards. Okay,
Bring out the gimbal
for a conversation. He said, "Nah, I can't do that. That would be considered an interview."
Well, I mean, technically, he's correct. He's got to watch what he says for something like that. Tech we love. I'm trying to find your comment. Here we go.
He did answer the questions personally, and I shared them with everybody.
One interesting event could be when Roaring Kitty hits 1 million silver play button in about 4 weeks or so. He is gaining about 1,000 subs a week, and at 996. I've said, and I agree with you, Tech we love, especially for GameStop and AMC as a tag along. Roaring Kitty news could be a catalyst for GameStop, which is why it's a dumb short under $20 in my book. If he shows up again or he starts doing memes or anything, GameStop could run for no good reason other than Roaring Kitty. So yeah, that's a good thing to keep an eye on, his 1 million mark of subs. Thank you for that. One Stop Print Shop. What's up, amigo? He says, with AMC trading sideways but having upside potential, do you prefer to hold the stock? You trade any options I'm holding the stock right now. Normally I would, if I'm holding, my cost basis is 420. I think there's more upside potential than downside risk on my cost basis. And normally I would be selling covered calls at this level because it's trading sideways. That's free money. That's not for everybody. Like if you're worried that it's going to moon to $1,000, you might not want to do that. I get it. And that's fine. You do whatever you feel good with. But the last couple weeks, I have not been selling covered calls because the premium has been shit. It's been a couple pennies for like a 550 call. And I recognize that it might run to $6 or $7 for no good reason. And I don't want to lose my shares for $2 per contract. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm holding shares. I'm not currently selling covered calls, but if the volatility increased, I might sell some again. I'm just, I'm hoping it drops down so I could buy some more cheap. But every day for the last couple of weeks, as it's just plunking along around $5, I'm like, should I buy more? It's like a debate I have with myself every day. Like I feel this is just me. I'm not telling you what to do. You haters out there. Every day I'm just like looking at it thinking, I know Beetlejuice is coming up, and if it's good and if this is a profitable quarter, we could get a bump up out of that, above that supply zone, just above where we're at right now. I don't know. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, adding more in this price range, but every day I look at it, I'm thinking about it. Alex says, if GameStop gives me 50 cents a share for dividends every quarter, I'm happy. Yeah, I mean, they could do a dividend. I don't know. I've heard people postulating that theory. That's cheaper for them than doing a share buyback, so maybe a possibility. I don't know if I was Ryan. Look, if I was CEO or CFO, I'm just telling you, I would not pay a dividend on a company that's not really generating any profits. So let's see this coming quarter. Did they invest their cash? Did they book profits? What's the core business look like? For me, companies that are generating profits can throw back some of those profits to shareholders as a dividend. But if you're not generating profits, why would you pay a dividend? That's why there's not going to be an AMC dividend in my mind. And it's questionable in GameStop, but I wouldn't rule it out depending on what they do with their cash and how things go here in a couple of weeks when we find out.
Tony, you know who told me there wouldn't be a dividend?
Adam?
Yeah, that was one of my cue cards.
What did he say? Remind us what he told you. He said, what did he say? You want those shares or you want that dividend?
Oh, yeah. So what he said was, I said, hey, what's the chance? I said about the shares, that they were giving out. What they call those shares? What was the name of them? I don't remember.
APE?
No. They were going to give you, if you held to conversion, they were giving you bonus shares or whatever. I forget what they were called. But so I asked him if the deal fell through, would they still give shareholders those shares? And he assured me that the deal wasn't going to fall through, but yes, we were going to get those shares. And he asked me, he said, you want those shares, don't you?
Are you kind of mad at him for leading you on like that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like he knew what he was doing. He knew he needed shareholders to hold. Like you guys think I'm against you guys. I'm not against you. Like I asked him the hard questions and I shared that with people, right?
And instead of
He knew
answering you, he just said, "You want those shares, don't you?"
exactly. You know? And I'll say this. Here's the other problem I have, right? I asked him about the dividend and he said that's not going to happen for a long time. Why? Because we're not profitable.
I've been reading through the new debt deal, Mediocre, to see what the debt covenants say about dividends. And I'm just going to say I'm still a little bit confused. I'd like to come out firmly and say AMC can pay a dividend now. The wording, guys, is a little bit confusing to me. And so if you're smarter than me and you have it figured out, drop me a note, send me a message on Twitter and tell me what you see. I've read it, I've reread it, and I've reread it again. And I'm still on the fence if AMC can pay a dividend. So I'm biased right now towards saying if I had to put money on it, they probably can't, but I'm not going to say with certainty that they can't. Go read all the legalese in all of those documents on the new debt deal and let me know what you think. Any two will do, he says. Also a reason for AA not wanting to run up in the AMC, not wanting a run up is because he knows a lot of people will sell and he will lose a ton of shareholders. I mean, at some point, any two, retail is going to be replaced by institutions. That's going to happen. I don't know at what point. I don't know at what point retail is willing to sell because so many of them are underwater. But I mean, it's not normal for a company to be 80% owned by retail. I don't think that lasts forever. What's that, Mediocre?
I was going to say, why do we come on here and talk to people so that they understand, right? Ultimately,
Understand what? What are you trying to say, Mediocre?
what I'm trying to say is if you have a high dollar cost average, I mean, you're going to have to eventually do something, because when the volatility stops, then what happens, right? When this stock stops trading so much, like when there's going to be a point, and I'm not encouraging this in any way, but there's going to be a point where people just get tired of the play and leave. Sadly, and when people stop trading the stock, it's going to trade flat, kind of like what's going on now. But the reason it's trading flat now is because people are waiting. I don't think people are selling. I think there's traders trading right now, but I don't think that majority of people are really selling because I think it's worth more money,
Luis says, do you see it drop into the high threes? Not without some bad news, Luis. I don't know how it gets pushed back down there. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I mean, it's been here for 3 months. We talked about monkeypox and additional dilution. Those would be my two leading candidates to knock the price down. If I was worried about that, I don't know that there's any fundamentals that I'm worried about to knock the price down. Or a market crash, right, Mediocre?
Yeah.
Market crash is going to take everything down.
But Tony, isn't it supposed to run if the market crashes?
No. I mean, some people say that.
I'm
Richie Rich says, what happens in a couple weeks for GameStop? Richie, I think there's going to be some GameStop holders surprised about what happens, but I'm trying not to say too much because they're not a big fan of this channel. Mediocre, are we going to do our astronaut helmet live stream for GameStop earnings?
If you want to, Tony. I'll have to order one.
I've got one GameStop bag I can hang up on the wall back there.
Oh boy.
Ooh, let's go. I've been digging in deep to this trading card thing, and I think the GameStop people have way overestimated the trading card contribution. So I'm not expecting a lot, Richie Rich, but I don't know, like software, hardware, collectible sales. It's hard to predict GameStop. So if I look at their typical Q2, I'm not expecting super great things, but there could be an unknown sweetener added from if they invested that cash and made some interest. So it's going to be a tough call. It's going to be tough for anybody to say exactly what's going to happen, and we'll just analyze it when they let us know. Kevin says, any idea how AMC moves from 250 to 13 in 2 days on 500 million shares traded? What do you think, Mediocre? Was it just retail buying? Or was it just because of Roaring Kitty? And I think that, in fairness, the same question could be asked about GameStop.
I mean, I didn't participate. I'll say that. I did not participate. I think it was 100% because of Roaring Kitty. I know other people will like to say other things, whatever, but I disagree. I think that it was retail FOMO. It was pushed out on social media, and people, jumped in behind it. That's
Did
what
you get your day traders and your high speed trading firms and your algo traders, everybody just playing the run up, right?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you?
And
right?
then you had, on top of that, you had a loaded options chain for GameStop.
I mean, I wish I took advantage, but I did not.
I did.
Congratulations. I didn't. I sat that one out. And the reason I sat it out is I'll tell you is because where's the top, Tony? Did you know where the top was on that run up?
I sold some mediocre at $60. I didn't sell 100% because no, I did not know where the top was, and I thought it could go higher. But I had bought in. I forget. I could pull up my GameStop chart.
Did you know the top was $13 on AMC? I didn't.
I didn't know, but when the market opened that next day and it started coming down, I sold my covered calls.
I knew it was overvalued. That much I knew, and it just wasn't worth the risk for me to put my money in.
So to answer,
I put a lot of money.
To answer Kevin's question, why did it run? FOMO, day traders, high speed traders, and any algo that's programmed to play a run up until it ran out of steam, and then they started shorting it and it came all the way back down. I mean, those are great opportunities if you're willing to trade. These GameStop people drive me nuts, telling people not to sell. I mean, if you had bought at $10 and sold at 60, and you could have waited a couple of weeks and bought back in at $20.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you do that? And they want to crap on it every other ticker that's pumping stocks, but they won't tell their people, guys, take some fucking profits. You just got handed a gift basket. These GameStop YouTubers are pumpers just like anybody else, and very unsophisticated pumpers. Any reasonable person would have started taking profits on that GameStop run up. I did. When I saw that Ryan announced the dilution, I dumped the rest of mine immediately, but it had already fallen to $43 by the time I was able to pull that trade off.
I just want to see people succeed.
We don't hate any stock. Is that fair to say, Mediocre?
Yeah. What I tell people all the time, Tony knows this, is the ticker symbol at the top of the page means nothing to me. All that matters is how much am I going to make this week.
All that
That's
matters
it.
to me is I know people are hurting. And when you're handed an opportunity, especially like if you were buying GameStop at 10, 15, 20 and it ran up to 60, you're buying AMC at $253 and it ran up to 12. That was a great opportunity to fix your cost basis on any shares that you had that were a higher basis, be it GameStop or AMC.
I think
How do you do that, Mediocre? How do you fix your basis on other shares by trading some that you bought cheap? How does that work?
I mean, I try to trade all of them. That's just me, though. You know, I mean, in a run up, I sell them.
I know you're pushing hard for that. I see in the Discord you're kind of like suggesting to people think about trading your whole portfolio, but not everybody wants to sell a $39 cost basis at a loss, even though it runs up to 12. And I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But if you didn't want to do that, that's fine. But if you bought some at 250 or 3, why wouldn't you sell those?
You
Because
can. You can keep trading them.
you could sell those, book a profit, put that cash in your account, and you've essentially
Buy back in.
you've reduced your basis on all your other shares by booking that profit.
Absolutely.
That's
There's many ways of doing it.
very dumb, simpleton mind that I have. Like if you're stuck right now, you gotta be looking for opportunities.
I mean, if I had a $40 cost average or something like that, the first thing I would do is throw as much money as I could at it. I mean, I don't know people's situations, right? But that's the first thing I would do. I'm not telling anybody what to do, but if I was in that position and I believed in the company and I had $40 shares, I would at least try to match my $40 shares with $5 shares. That's what I would do if I could do it. If I was capable of doing something like that, right? Not everybody has money to do it.
That's a big problem, I think, Mediocre. A lot of people are just out of cash or they're out of willpower.
Yeah.
Like their emotional energy to believe in this play has been rug pulled by everybody with all the negativity. That's why I have things like this, so I don't have to think emotionally. I don't got to think about negativity. All I got to do is look at the box office and make my guess. What's the box office going to be? Do I need to be negative about this quarter? Or is there some hope that I can be positive about it? And I guarantee you the people that are spreading negativity aren't doing anything close to this.
We look at spreadsheets and math every day. That's the name of the game. It's just math. You know?
Jeffrey, what's up, amigo?
And I know it's frustrating. Believe me. I was once there. Didn't want to miss the run up. Didn't want to miss the squeeze. You know, I couldn't bring myself to selling.
We all struggled with that decision at one point or another. Kevin says, Mediocre, do you think all of a sudden people or retail came up with $6 billion to invest because of a meme? It's not really that simple, was it? I mean, the option chain was loaded, and we just got through saying you can't count out trading algorithms, high-speed traders, and any institutional traders that wanted to capitalize on a run-up.
Okay, listen, it's very simple. All right. High-frequency traders could trade. They have tons of money. So they could do that alone, I'm sure, with the numbers. The point is you had day traders, okay, trading. They could have been, depending on portfolio size, they could have been in and out of a trade, and it kept moving, and they just kept re-entering and exiting. Those are trades. That happens all the time. To say that didn't happen, how do you explain it then? I don't understand the question.
They explain it.
Was trading those shares.
They explained it mediocre that institutions bought up all those shares, but I just saw all the 13F filings and I don't see that. So I go by data. The data is not screaming at me that institutions loaded up on $6 billion worth of GameStop. So
So
who do you,
hold on. So I'm supposed to assume, Tony, that institutions bought this with no information to back it up.
they bought it mediocre because they believe in Ryan Cohen. They don't care about valuations or lack of profits.
I'm baffled. I was thinking about AMC anyways, but how do you explain that with AMC then?
I don't know. I mean, guys, you got to think like a professional. They're not going to buy a $40 or $60 stock like a GameStop or a $6, $8, $12 stock like an AMC with no fucking earnings. They're just not. And even if they did buy it, they're going to sell it to somebody else a few minutes later for a profit.
Let me ask this question. Here's a better way of doing this, Tony, right? Because this is what I keep saying, and it must not be getting across, okay? Whether institutions did buy it or not, you have no proof. Let's just say it's corruption, for example, Tony, okay?
Okay.
Where is the fucking stock trading right now? Did it help any retail investors right now? The answer is no to both of those. And then again, you still have no proof of it. So if it is corruption, how did you fix anything by holding the stock? End of fucking story. I'm done with it. The only way you're going to change the corruption is if you guys go, you're going to have to change Congress to change the way the market works. That's ultimately the truth. You don't have to listen to me. I personally don't care if you do or you don't. I'm nobody. I'm just some guy who trades stocks on the internet. Sorry, I had to say it, Tony. I'm done. It's ridiculous. Okay. I've said this how many times? Whether there's corruption or not, the only way to fix it is how, Tony?
Change Congress. Get all the corrupt politicians and Wall Street people out. I mean, it's absolutely corrupt. But so far, you know, in my 30 years of doing this mediocre, I've never paid so much attention to these type of things as I have in the last 3 years. And as I've been paying daily attention to it in dozens and dozens of tickers, I don't see us winning. Other than momentary blips.
I don't have a problem with anybody doing anything in their account. Your account has nothing to do with me, just for the record, okay? If you want to hold them, you hold them. If you want to take profit, take profit. I'm only talking about what I do, right? And I follow what's posted on the SEC website. If it's not an SEC Edgar, then it didn't happen in my book. I'll just say that.
Ooh, those are fighting words, mediocre. People have told me, mediocre, you can't believe what companies file because it's with the SEC.
Well, they don't have to believe it, Tony. But don't complain about corruption if you don't want to believe it.
Don't complain about being down on your trade either.
I believe corruption exists, and I'll say this for the last time. I believe corruption exists, and it doesn't matter whether it exists or doesn't exist if nothing gets done about it. And the only way to do something about it is to force Congress to do something about it. I don't know what else to say. And so, in my eyes, if it's not on SEC Edgar, then it never happened. With that said, I'll just flat out tell you, I don't believe institutions bought those shares just by that logic right there.
I think some of them bought it mediocre and then immediately sold them for profits to some retail trader.
Was there a filing, Tony?
We have all the 13 Fs now in for that quarter.
And?
I mean, some of them increase their position, but all of those shares are basically unaccounted for. The vast majority of them. So in my mind, they either went to retail or I'm still trying to think through, like, could some institution have bought them to close out a short and then it wouldn't show up on a 13F? Maybe. I keep on thinking about that in my spare time. I'm not ready really to comment on that or not. But at the end of the day, right now, what I'm seeing is not institutions holding a bunch of GameStop, and the price came all the way back down to $22. So that's really all I need to know.
All I'm trying to say truly is I'm not going to bet on something I don't have information on. Again, I play with a lot of money. I don't want to lose my money. I'm not trying to lose my money. I'm very cautious in where I put my money now. That's just it, you know?
Mike says, as long as I'm taking profits, you have a problem with that strategy. I don't know if you're asking us, Mike. We're big believers in taking profits. I think I can speak for Mediocre on that. But we're not here to tell you what your strategy, anybody's strategy should be.
No.
Some people want to hold.
Giving my opinion.
Some people want to hold. We have people in our Discord that are holding. We have people in the Discord that have very high cost averages and don't want to trade or don't want to do the wheel. Fine. Do whatever you want. I don't care. We talk about the DD, we talk about the financials, we talk about the filings, and we try and guess what's going to happen. We share the info, and then people make up their own minds. It doesn't matter to me what y'all do. I'm just here telling you what I'm doing. Certainly not trying to influence anybody to do something different.
I'll just tell you that I added quite a substantial amount of money to my portfolio. It's just sitting there in cash. I was done.
Charisma, who says, we never really had a rational AMC investor up in here, but it is still polite to ask. What was the question, Charisma?
Before you drink up all my liquor. I like it. He's making money. I know he is because he tells me every week he's making money, and I love it.
Omar says retail selling. That's why retail owns 60%. I don't know who's selling or not. I mean, there are of retail traders, Omar, whether we're talking AMC or GameStop, there are a bunch that are holding. But Mediocre talks to people every day. I talk to a lot of people every day. I've been doing this 3 years. I've seen the people come and go. I've seen people tell me why they're leaving the Discord. There are people selling, but there's also people buying. Like, get it through your heads. There are people selling. I don't care about them. They made their choice. They go on their way. Doesn't matter to me. All I want to know is, what is a good entry if I want to buy it and hold it?
Absolutely. Omar, and I'll say this. I see your comment. I mean, I have an opinion why he doesn't want to talk about that. So Omar's comment is, why AA, Mr. Popcorn, don't say anything about how much retail owns right now. And I think he wants to get away from that. That's my opinion of it. I think he doesn't. I mean, I'm giving you my honest opinion right here. Okay. I just think that Adam Aaron wants to distance himself from retail, get back to getting institutional investors back in the stock. That's my opinion of it.
I mean, he did talk about it, Mediocre, in one of the more recent quarterly earnings calls. He said, if you take out the ETFs, which are passive investors, they're index funds, so let's take them out. If you take them out, retail is still, I don't remember the number he said, but by my calculation, it's still somewhere close to 70 or 80%. If you take out ETFs, the institutions that own AMC are very small. Why? You got to ask yourself, why is that? I want you guys to hear me very clearly right now. Mediocre. Why are institutions not majorly holding AMC and they're buying GameStop? They're buying Cinemark and IMAX.
Because Cinemark and IMAX have profitable quarters.
Bingo.
That's why. As soon as AMC has some profitable quarters, institutions are going to come in. That is Adam Aaron's goal, right? That's what I was just talking about. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't want retail involved. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that his goal is to bring back institutional investors to the company.
There will be. I mean, when this company is profitable, if it gets to that point, that you will see the institutional percentage of ownership rise. They're avoiding it right now for two reasons: no profits, risk of dilution. I mean, we've always said, "Oh, we own the float. Retail owns the float." There's a other side to that coin. Institutions are avoiding the stock. It's fair to ask ourselves. It's fair to ask ourselves, why aren't institutions buying it? The only two answers are no earnings and risk of dilution. When those two things change, you're going to see institutions start buying the stock. And for me, that's a good thing.
Let me see if I can show something, Tony. Hold on. I'm gonna give me a second.
Ladies, close your eyes.
Hold on, I gotta get over here. I want to make sure I could do it.
Yeah, Doug, we will see some speculative institutions increase their position. He said Jane Street and National Bank. I have noticed that a few of them have been increasing. If they're willing to speculate, and they're probably hedging those speculative bets, but some of them are going to be like us. There's going to be some institutions that will speculate a certain amount. If they're looking at the numbers and they're confident that the box office is going to be better, there's going to be some that increase their ownership ahead of all of the big boys. Absolutely. Jeffrey says, with the IV so low, I've sold all my AMC shares. See, well, there we have someone who sold and used the funds to buy in the money and slightly out of the money leap calls. I like that strategy, Jeff. Been selling calls at the same strike every week. I mean, I just think that someone who's repeating this mantra, like retail's not selling, I don't know a nice way to say it. There are clearly some people selling, but there's also a lot of us buying. And there's a lot of us that are waiting for really good entry points too. I've only made one buy in the last 3 months. It's not because I don't want to own AMC. I'm trying to be patient and get the best possible risk-free entry.
I'm going to try something. Let me see if it lets me do this.
Crismo says, how many people do we suppose we have left that haven't sold a single legacy AMC share? I don't know. I would say thousands, Crismo, but not millions. What do you think, Mediocre? I mean, by thousands, it could be tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Mediocre, how many do you think own AMC that have never sold one share?
I don't know. That's a tough question.
I mean, we're just guessing. I mean, how the heck do we know?
I'd say probably maybe 60%.
Wow. That's pretty high, Mediocre. Mel Mill says, for what it's worth, I believe AMC will merge, may be bought out once they get profitable and strong. We're seeing partnerships with streaming networks. I mean, that definitely a possibility. Wouldn't surprise me, Mel. You can pick up the largest theater company, the largest entertainment company in the world for still a pretty cheap price. But the problem right now is the company still has a lot of debt. And so if you do a merger or an acquisition, you're bringing $4 billion worth of debt on board. So I think that's something that they think about.
All right, Tony. I want to show a couple things that this. Oh, that's not what I want to do. Hold on. Shit, that's already up there. Forget it. I'll just show it. I wasn't going to show the whole screen, but here's my account. Okay. If you look right here, it says that I gained 35,000 from May 14th to August 25th. Okay. That's a 52% gain.
Nice.
There you go.
But mediocre. Day trading is a rat game.
Yeah, I know. I only make pennies, Tony, you know? Oh, man. I'm sorry, man. I wanted to only show part of that. So you guys got the whole thing. Whatever. It is what it is.
Doug says, could AMC be part of Butterfly? Are we talking about Bed Bath & Beyond Butterfly, Doug? Bed Bath & Beyond is bankrupt, and all the assets have been sold off, and the lenders are only going to get a partial payback. So in my mind, there's no Butterfly. I leave those guys alone. They're not harming anybody, having all their talks and their live streams talking about Bed Bath & Beyond. I don't fuck with those people. I think that they're 100% incorrect, but they're not hurting anybody at this point. So
I try not to go after people, honestly. You know what I mean?
I don't either. I mean, I feel bad for them mostly. I think there's going to be some big lessons learned, and people should just read documents and not try and reinterpret them. The documents, to me, I've read all of them. They're very black and white, very clear what happened, and very clear that there's not going to be any distribution to common shareholders. And my thought is I don't want to be buying Bed Bath Beyond bonds, because same reason. I see these guys like, oh, let's go buy the bonds. We're going to get rich on bonds. Unsecured debt is probably not going to get a payout either.
Kevin, I'm just going to tell you, buddy, whether it does or doesn't, I don't really care. I make my own squeeze, create my own MOAS, right, Tony?
Absolutely. Could it squeeze or sneeze again? Absolutely. I mean, we just had a run from $2.50 to $12 on a freaking Roaring Kitty meme. And so, sure, there could be another one. Is it going to go to, what do we need it to go to, mediocre, to make people whole again that bought in at 60 or $70? Let me pull up the chart here. I mean, after the reverse split and conversion, if they held everything, it's saying 393.
393. There you go.
I think it's pretty tough to get from $5 to 393. So in my Discord, we're talking about if you're sitting on a $39 cost basis, how do you fucking fix that? That's what we're talking about. Could the price run up again to 12? Yes. Could the price go much higher than that in the next 2 years, just based off of traditional financial analysis and price to earnings? Yeah. I mean, I've run models that say a $20-25 price target is very reasonable if the company is booking profits, but I can't promise you that the box office is going to be what I think it's going to be. That's just my hope.
Tony, Kevin says mediocre. I hope you don't miss the run. What do you think of that, Tony?
Well, I mean, considering we are up every morning before the market opens and we're watching it until it closes every day in extended hours, Kevin, and considering we have a considerable portion of our portfolio in cash, we're not going to miss any run unless it happens in about 5 minutes and we're not at the PC.
I won't miss a run. Don't worry.
I didn't miss the AMC run in May. I didn't miss the GameStop run. I made several 100%. I forget how many hundreds of percent in both of those. If you have a regular job, I get it. Like you might want to have some plan because you never know when those things are going to happen. But that run built up over a week or two. We could all see it coming, and I positioned myself to be ready for it. I don't think I'm going to wake up one day on no news and AMC is going to be at $50. I think that if a run happens, we'll have a little bit of chance for, I own shares. And if I forecast that the run is going to extend, then I have an opportunity to buy more shares. I have cash. I could buy calls. I could buy shares. And many of us are swing traders and day traders. We know how to hop in and out of stocks. We have the time and the ability to do it. And if you don't, you might have a different way of playing the play, and that's fine. Just understand, guys, everybody in this investing world has different goals, different methodologies, different way of analyzing stuff, and a different amount of time available to pay attention to it. I don't think there's ever going to be a day where I wake up and AMC's at $50. I'll have time to, if I choose to, throw more of my cash at it.
The Dan Man says, does Tony only answer Kevin's questions?
Dan Man says, do you give out potential plays in your Discord? We talk about a lot of different plays, Dan Man. I post my trades only in the VIP because I'm not trying to influence people on what to buy. But in the regular Discord, we have, 50 plus rooms of different tickers that we're watching or invested in. So, and people ask me all the time in the Discord, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? I don't have time to make a video about everything. When I do a video, it's a lot of my time. And if it's not AMC or GameStop, nobody watches them. So I'm very respectful of my own time. I'll talk to you guys ad nauseum in the Discord about stocks. But if you're wondering why I'm not making a video about every ticker that I'm in or every ticker that you're interested in, it's just time constraints.
I mean, that's the other thing too. Like, we talk about plays, but I don't encourage people to follow me. If I'm going to make a trade, I make my trade for myself.
And when I do talk about a play, I try and be very like, here's why I'm buying it. Here's what I think the upside is, and here's what I think the risk or the downside is. I always try and give a balanced perspective because that's how I look at it. I'm not like calling out plays in the Discord saying, buy this, it's going to go up 1,000%.
Yeah, no.
I'm buying this. Here's what I'm hoping for, and here's what I'm worried about. So you can kind of see how I'm thinking. That's all.
And as far as like day trading, like coming in at 4 in the morning, catching these runners and this that, I don't even waste my time with none of that.
Let's see what Jeffrey has to say. He says, I think there is a sort of learned helplessness for AMC where people don't think there is a consensus that AMC isn't allowed to increase in price. That's a lot of negatives there, Jeffrey. Eventually, people will reevaluate. People don't think there is a consensus that AMC isn't. Help me out, Jeffrey. What's he trying to say? Mediocre.
I think what he's trying to say is
AMC's not allowed to run.
No, that where people don't think there's a consensus that AMC is allowed to increase in value. So there's some people who think that it won't be allowed to move up in price, is what he's saying.
Right. That's a great point for me to put the supply and demand zones up one more time before we wrap this up. Give me 1 second.
Like, how people say, well, every time it moves up, Alameda dilutes and knocks the price back down, or he puts out bad news.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's trying to say.
So, who was that? Jeffrey? I've been trying to share my methodology with you guys on these live streams and some videos on GameStop and AMC about not just thinking about not just drawing a line across and saying this is support, this is resistance, but think of it as a zone. Like there, you can see the demand zone down here. When it hits this demand zone, and I drew these some time ago, but they're based off of historical info looking back. When it hits this zone, it shoots up. Here, it didn't shoot up in the middle in June, but we did have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, not counting these 2 red days, but we had 10 days of it bouncing off that zone. And then here we had a big shoot up. That tells me there is demand down at this 420 to 440 price based on what we know now. Based on what we know now. Huh? What medium?
An opportunity, Tony. I'll buy it there too.
Yeah, I bought some at 420 on this day right here.
That was a good buy, Tony. I like it. See, you get a better entry than me.
But conversely, based on the information we have now, and that information could change in the future, there is a supply zone where people or institutions or AMC, any number of participants are willing to sell up here between 540 and 570. Now, my hope is that we get some news that pushes through this. When you push through this, you can reset some new zones. But yeah, I mean, Jeffrey, if people are thinking it's anchored, it's because there's no reason for it to move right now. We're close to a $2 billion market cap. We still have a little bit of uncertainty about Q3 in the market. Not us. We're bullish, right? We look at this every day, way more than people on Wall Street do. What was I saying? I think there's a good chance we can push up past this zone before the end of this year. I want to say before, by the end of this quarter, but I'm trying not to have too much hopium inside myself. I think, if Q3 and Q4 are profitable, we may see this zone move up a little bit to a new range. What do you think, Mediocre?
Absolutely. I think, not that I don't want Beetlejuice to push it up. I want to get an entry in before it happens. But I think Beetlejuice has an opportunity to maybe do that. And if it isn't Beetlejuice, maybe it's the earnings call, whatever, you know what I mean? But Q3 earnings, but we're getting close, I think, to getting that move up.
Dan says, I've been gone for a while. How's your injury healing? Are we talking about the old knee injury, Dan? That is healed. I'm healthy and in good shape, other than a little bit too many pounds on. But I did go back on strict keto about a week ago, so wish me luck. And I have hope to get back in the gym again. All right, mediocre. I think we're going to call it here, and we'll allow folks to ask one or two. Give us your best questions. We're approaching 11:30.
With everything that happened over the weekend, I want to be up early and in the chat. Checking news.
Doug, I've seen Doug say a couple times, get rid of Adam, Aaron, and AMC will pop. I mean, who are you going to replace them with, Doug? And I also think that, just my opinion, Adam Aaron gets a bit of a bad rap because he's the front man. I think that Sean Goodman is making a lot of these financial calls. And if Adam Aaron is gone, Sean is in very close running to be the next CEO.
Yep.
That's my opinion.
What we see is probably Sean Goodman and not necessarily Adam Aaron.
So Sean is riding way under the radar. Like, everybody hates me and mediocre rides under the radar, just like everybody hates Adam and Sean is riding under the radar, but Sean is pulling most of these strings because why?
You did
him
not
and his huh?
I said
What?
You did not just say that.
The CFO and his team of financial analysts and accountants that work at AMC, they're the ones doing the 2-year forecast of liquidity and cash burn. They're the ones saying, Adam, we need to fucking raise money or we're going to fucking go bankrupt. And then Adam's got to go shake hands and make phone calls, and Sean's doing it too. Adam's got to face the shareholders. That's his job. Sean doesn't have to do that, but the finance team is the one making all these decisions as far as I'm concerned. You want to hate somebody, maybe shovel a little bit over Sean's way, but at the end of the day, they're all doing their job. And Adam Aaron leaving might actually be bad for the stock. I don't know. I really don't care if he stays or not. I don't care. I'm not in this stock because of Adam Aaron. I'm not in any company because of a CEO. I could care less about Ryan Cohen. I could care less about Adam Aaron. I think they're all doing their job to the best of their ability, considering the shit hand that they are dealt.
I think they're just doing what they got to do. You know what I mean? I hardly pay them no mind. It's in the filings. It is what it is. I don't even look at his Twitter no more, to be honest with you guys. Somebody will tell me, oh, he tweeted, and I'll say, well, what did this say or whatever. I used to go look, and I'm not concerned.
Richie says, can you make your spreadsheet of movies downloadable? You mean like my forecast? The forecast spreadsheet? Let's look at that real quick before we finish up.
Tony, they don't understand that you're always updating it.
Yeah, I haven't updated it for this weekend yet. That is true. Q3 movies. Usually Monday morning once we get the final weekend. So this is my spreadsheet.
Put it up. Let's go.
Hang on, Paisan. So Q3, these numbers on the colored column, the left column here, this is my forecast. That is the actual. If it's green, then it's doing better than my forecast. If it's red, It's doing worse, but again, these have not been updated with this weekend's numbers. I had Herald and the Purple Crayon very low. I had It Ends With Us very low. Look at how this is last weekend. We were crushing my forecast for that. I love to be wrong. Cuckoo, I had at 20 million. I don't know what it's at. I'll do a video Monday and talk about this weekend and go through these numbers. Ryan's World, I don't even think Ryan's World lasted one day in the theaters. It was so bad. Aliens is what? Around 60, 70 million now domestic. Blink Twice, I had at 20 million. This is for the entire domestic run. So if they already had a great opening weekend, I think Blink Twice came in at 7. So I think I'll be close for that one. The Forge around the same. The Crow I had at 20 million. It came in at 4 to 5 million. I think I'll be close on that one for the entire domestic run. We got Reagan coming up. Beetlejuice I have at 200. I hope we smash that. I hope it does 400. And then the other big ones I'm looking at are Transformers and Wild Robot.
So the Dan man, to answer your question, he says mediocre. Were you a big fan of the Deadpool movie? And I'm just going to tell you guys, like, I don't have an AMC near me, and so it's an hour and a half for a better drive for me. I have other theaters nearby, so
Shill. Fucking shill.
I don't know. But that's the thing. Like, I don't go to a competitor. I'm just going to tell you. So no, I haven't seen Deadpool. That's why, like I'm going to see Beetlejuice with my wife. But it's going to be at AMC, so I have to drive. You know what I mean? And so that's just the way it is.
How long was that drive that you did? How long was that drive that you did into Boston to go watch the movie with Adam?
It was a couple hours.
A couple hours. Holy fuck. For
It's
me,
like an hour and a half.
For me to drive to Dallas, he didn't come to Austin. He came to Dallas. I had to drive 3 hours, mediocre. But I'm going to be honest. I get irritated when I got to drive. We have 3 AMC in my town. 2 are within 10 minutes. And the other one's on the south side of town, all the way down the freeway. And if there's rush hour, forget about it. Like, you could be sitting in 15 miles for over an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hate going there, but that's the only one that has IMAX. So I get it. I mean, it's tough when you don't have one right next to you. I'm lucky that I got 2 easy drive within an easy drive for me.
So Tony, I called your buddy today.
Which one?
The Massalorian.
The Massalorian. Did he answer?
No.
Johnny, where you at? He don't answer my calls anymore either.
Considering him and I went to Boston to go meet Adam Aaron. And
I used to talk to him, fairly often, just quick chat on the phone just to see what's up. And it's been months now. Not, I've tried a couple times giving him a call. He has texted me, mediocre. But Johnny, call me. Don't fucking text. Let's get you on the live stream. Let people know you're alive. I'm sure they want to hear from the Massalorian. We want to know you're doing okay, amigo.
I don't know. It'd be good to get him back on live.
All we know is he's back in the U.S. That's about all we know. Somewhere up in the Northeast, near Boston, but not in Boston. I think I did talk to him for a few minutes when he came back, and he said he was looking for a place, he was looking for a job, and he was hoping to get back to live streaming and doing videos, and then just went radio silent. So it's not that we're ignoring him, and I'm sure he's not ignoring us. He's probably busy with life. And
I sent him a message. No, he sent me a message and I responded to it, but that was after I had called him, I don't know, a month or two ago.
we'll all catch up at some point. I know it will happen, Mediocre, at some point.
I only say
Probably
that
after
brought him up.
after the MOAS, Mediocre.
Yeah, him and I met in Boston. It was a good time, I guess, but we waited. Him and I waited to be last to talk to Adam Aaron.
So you didn't put Adam on the spot in front of 100 people?
Yeah, I wanted the information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wasn't there to be. Oh, hey, buddy. I mean, I did like the guy. He wasn't terrible, right? I didn't like hate. I wasn't going there in a hatred way. Just answer my freaking questions. I got a lot of money in this.
Now, Mediocre, when you shook his hand, did you know immediately you couldn't trust him?
No, but I will say that
Some of y'all know what I'm talking about.
I knew.
Mike, are you watching? Owning the float. I shook his hand and I knew immediately I couldn't trust him. That just cracks me up.
I will say though that when he did the whole "you want those shares" thing, I kind of knew like
You got the heebie-jeebies a little bit?
fuck, like what the fuck. I just want to make sure you're gonna protect shareholders, guy. Like, what is that comment? I don't know.
Don't try and what is it called when you
Monday night quarterbacking?
No, it's a psychological manipulation term. Fuck, I can't think of it. It's late. Anyways, he was trying to program your mind like you want those shares, right? Mediocre.
Yeah, right.
What the fuck is that called? Where's Doc Zeno? We need him. Doc, I'm blanking out. When someone tells you, God damn it, I almost had it again.
I know what you're talking about. I just can't think of it at the moment.
Somebody, anyone who's dated a bipolar girlfriend, help us out here. Anyways, he was doing a publicity tour, Mediocre. He wanted to keep retail interested, and he wanted to know that you were interested because he needed you. Not NLP, Jeffrey. I know what you're talking about. What's that guy's name? Ross. It's a manipulative technique that people use in relationships where they tell you, like, when you're on a date with a girl and your girlfriend catches you out. I saw you with that girl. No, you didn't. I wasn't even there. I was there. I saw you. I wasn't there. It's like reverse psychology, but there's a fucking word for it.
That's what I was going to say, reverse psychology.
God dang it. It'll probably hit me as soon as we finish.
I could ask my wife, but she's in bed.
Gaslighting. Jeffrey, that's it. Gaslighting. Was he gaslighting you, Mediocre? You want those shares, don't you?
Yeah, he definitely was gaslighting me for sure. 100%. I couldn't believe he said that.
And
then when I was like reading the court documents, I'm like, this fucking guy, you know? Whatever.
Gaslighting. Yeah. Hopefully, gosh, man, maybe one day, Mediocre, I'll make a channel on dating advice. But ladies and gentlemen, if you're in one of those relationships or you've been in one of them, I feel for you. And gentlemen, if you're a dad, do your kids right. And I guess ladies to a certain extent. teach your daughters too, like how they can be manipulated in relationships. Because that shit will ruin your life. Thank God, mediocre. I got a good one. I never married a gaslighter or someone with deep emotional problems, but I dated a couple, and I wasn't prepared. My toolkit didn't account for things like that. And then once you're stuck in a dating relationship, and you start getting manipulated, you're like, holy fuck, what the bang, 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 what's going on? Only after, and you start researching what just happened to me after you break up, you start finding out about all that stuff.
I'm just scared of my wife.
You're scared of your wife?
No, I'm only kidding.
I know. I mean, I've heard you and your wife. I've heard you and your wife talk. I've heard you and your wife talk in Discord. You're not scared of your wife. Don't even give these guys an excuse to be scared of their wife. Gentlemen,
no, I'm not scared of my wife.
Gentlemen, be the boss of your house.
Listen, I have
and do manly shit.
I have an obligation to my family. I'll just tell you guys that. And so I am the king of my castle. I'll just let you all know. You can say whatever you want, but just know I am the king of my castle.
Your wife, I like your wife, mediocre. The little bit I know of her, she sounds a lot like my wife. Like she's outspoken. Yeah. She's outspoken. She's opinionated, but you're still the boss.
Yeah. I mean, I have conversations with my wife. I'm good. We have drama. We just settle that shit. It's all good. This is what I think. Logically. What do you think? Who wins? End of story. I don't play none of that.
Wait. You can have a logical discussion with her?
Absolutely. That's the only way. If you want a long, happy life, you gotta be smart,
Ooh, well, that is a really good one, mediocre. I'm just gonna say. She's a rare gem.
Yeah, she's good. She knows what's up. She knows where her bread is buttered. You know what I'm trying to say? She's good.
All right. On that lighter note, by the way, if you need a good book recommendation about how to deal with a fucked up relationship, if you're being gaslit or manipulated, DM me and I'll send you a great book. Not that I have to deal with it. Not that I have to deal with it now. My wife is great. She's fucking fantastic. But I have run across a couple of crazies in my single days. So,
Tony, are you a beta male? I've heard that on the internet. I'm sorry. I was mediocre as I was working in here earlier today, and my wife came in and I said, "Hey, honey, the car is fixed. We got your inspection done." You could just see her kind of melting, mediocre, like, "Oh my gosh, you're such a good man." Like, they love when you can do actual shit that a man's supposed to do all the time.
So, gentlemen, find ways. Never stop working on yourself. Never stop improving yourself. Be a good spouse. Be kind, but also be firm. You're the man. You're the leader of your house. Lorenzo says 13 years with crazy. Pull out a spreadsheet, number letters.
Take care of your wife, for God's sakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to take care of them. You got to take care of them. I mean, I argue with my wife every now and then too, because she's a very emotional, feely person, and I'm a very logical thinker. So that's our headbutting thing. But at the end of the day, there's a deep caring between both, and we always end up working it out.
Absolutely.
I'm just astonished, mediocre, that you have one that is capable of thinking logically. I think in my 50 plus years, I've only met one that was capable of doing that.
I mean, my wife thinks I'm smart. I don't know.
Tell her to spit on that thing.
You know,
Gosh,
she's like,
would,
she's
would,
like, I
would you
trust you. You do what
did
you do.
did
That's
you
it.
show your wife the just spit on that thing meme?
Absolutely. Of course I did.
Yeah, I did too, and my wife thought it was hilarious. But I've seen men on social media that were scared to show their wife that. I'm like, dude, you need to nut up.
I send my wife shit all the time, Tony. What do you think? My wife's like, you got to stop sending me stuff. And I'm like, you got to do better. And I'm like, I'm only kidding. I'm joking, people.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Lorenzo, the book is called Stop Walking on Eggshells. Stop walking on eggshells. If you're dealing with someone that's got a bipolar disorder. And I unfortunately only found out about it after dating someone for a while and not being able to figure out what the fuck was going on with my life. And this person that was like positive one day and just like batshit crazy the next day. And they start making you feel like everything is your fault. Stop walking on eggshells. I don't know the author's name, but if you're a dad, give that book to your sons before they start into the dating world so they can be armored. Because eventually, you know, if they have bad luck, they're going to run across someone like that. And I'm not making light of people with bipolar disorder. It's a real disorder and they need medicine and therapy, but it is very difficult for the other person in the relationship. And if you're not mentally ready for that and you run across one, you might not be able to detect it. But if you've read a book, you can see the signs coming. You know, a lot of people I've talked to have parents that had bipolar.
Tony, let's answer this last question quickly.
Yeah.
Joe, he's asked it a couple times. That's why.
Is it better to sell and buy by limit or market? Or what stock are we talking about?
I mean, me personally, I use limit orders, right? You know, but here's the thing: if you look at the market crash that happened the other day, people had limit orders that didn't get filled, right, Tony? When it crashed, and you know, people wanted to get in or whatever. But I think if you had even your market order didn't go through, did it? Somebody had a market order that didn't go through.
I had a market order on that day that it was trying to run, and when the market opened, they wouldn't fucking fill my order.
Yeah. That was the day it crashed. Yeah, when we were at
I got filled in pre-market, but then I tried to buy more
right after it
the
opened.
market opened, and I saw that it was coming up, and they wouldn't fill my order on a market order.
Right, which is very odd, but it happened. It happened that day. I remember because the option market didn't even open. But
and what did I do, mediocre? I canceled that order because I was worried by experience that they were going to give me a horrible fill. When you do a market order, you're at their whim.
Absolutely.
So 90% of the time I'm doing limit orders. I'm not opposed to doing a market order if something is running up fast, but if something's running up fast, I want an immediate fill. And this was like lingering out there 5 minutes. I was like, fuck that. Canceled that.
I agree. So yeah, I mostly do limit orders. But the thing is if the stock starts moving and you can't get an entry on the limit order, which happens sometimes, that's the only time I will hit if I'm trying to buy and it's continuing to move and I think it's going to continue to go higher, then I'll use a market order if I can't get my limit order to go in.
Yep.
Or I can't get it at the price I want. But that's basically the only time I use a market order. I hope that helps you, Joe.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your time tonight. Good luck in your trading next week. We'll be around. I'm going to do a AMC video probably in the morning once I get the complete Monday numbers for Box Office. Mediocre, you got any closing thoughts for the folks?
Just hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, come back, hang out with us, have fun with us, have a beer with us. Good night. We'll see you in the next video, whenever that is. I don't know.
All right. Safe trading, guys. Have a good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last.